Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome back to Anime King. And I'm back with part 5 of What If Naruto Was Shadow the Hedgehog. Remember to get this one too. 100 like as usual. Share this to all of your friends on your social media platform. And also, guys, don't forget to go ahead and check out the other channels if you're new. Yes, that's correct. I indeed have 3 more channels, which I post What If on every single day for you guys to enjoy. Anime King 2, Anime King 3, and Anime Symbol. I'll be leaving all of the links down in the description, so go ahead, check them out, and enjoy. And don't forget to turn on the bell notification if you're new, because I do post a hell of a lot. So without further ado, or wasting more time, how about we begin this brand new episode? Let's begin now, guys. So, the last part that we left off, Orochimaru forgot what he did. Or perhaps he was just teasing Naruto, as he said he didn't care about Maria or even remember who that was. Now that brought up a huge problem as Naruto lost it. In his chaotic state, the chaotic energy that spammed from him was destroying the reanimations, giving Minato the opportunity to send them right in the blast, destroying them and freeing their soul. Naruto took Orochimaru away, so Minato had to control his forces and control everything else. And while that was playing out, Naruto went up against none other than Orochimaru, empowered by all the emeralds. Naruto emit in a golden state. His power skyrocketed to unbelievable heights. He attacked Orochimaru with a new set of abilities. Each of the emeralds possess a various set of abilities, but combined, they were deadly and destructive. Naruto knocked the Sannin all over the village. For the first time in a very long while, Orochimaru felt absolute fear, knowing that he might be truly erased. He tried to play on Naruto's soft side, asking him what exactly will he do after he defeat him. There will be nothing left for him. He was the only thing keeping him going, but Orochimaru didn't count on one thing. Naruto did not care. As he ripped the Sannin apart, he destroyed every essence of Orochimaru, using the emeralds to do something that he didn't even thought was possible. He destroyed Orochimaru's soul. With that, Naruto simply sat down, unsure what to do as he sat there, not moving. The next moment he was surrounded by the populace that were there to witness what take place. However, he was no threat. Naruto got to his feet after a while, them questioning him on what he want. Why did he end the Sannin if he was ally or simply a different foe? They wanted to know, but he flew off though, as he made his way, wiping out all of Orochimaru's allies and friends, people that he commanded. That was when he noticed in the far distance, the one that he had stopped himself from hurting at the Land of Wave. Seeing her facing off against a massive beast, Naruto interrupted and proceeded to level Shikaku like it was nothing, despite bringing the beast a distance away so the others would not be caught up in the backlash. The explosion was still violent. Naruto did not kill Gaara as he saw the pitiful state that he was in afterwards. Screaming about his own identity got Naruto to think about what Orochimaru said. Mito came to him afterwards as she wanted to talk to him. She told him that he was her brother. However, Naruto looked at her, not truly believing what she had to say, despite feeling strange. The fact that he did not know this girl, as she was speaking about some bond between them. He eventually left though, leaving Mito rather sad. As some time passed, the village was recovering nicely, as the Sand siblings were returned back home. Mito having a conversation with Gaara. She didn't quite know and understand his burden that much, despite the both of them being Jinchurikis. However, she saw what he lacked, and it shows greatly. However, their conversation afterwards seemed to have given him a new perspective. Meanwhile, Naruto made his way. He found every single base that belonged to the Sannin. He crushed everyone. He eviscerated them all. He wiped out Kimimaro, Orochimaru's right hand, every single person on the list. Naruto went base after base, annihilating everything, getting a better control over his super form as he annihilated everyone in his wake. It seems like they was fated for them to meet as Jiraiya came across Naruto at one of the other desolate bases. Naruto was left there rather empty, having no purpose left or knowing what to do. The Sannin spoke to him. Jiraiya was actually on his way to finding Tsunade. His conversation with Naruto spoke, even brought Tsunade into it as well, speaking about loss. If anyone could understand loss, it was her. She's lost a lot as well, which caused her to turn her back on everything and everyone. So yes, he told Naruto to accompany him. Having felt like there was no purpose anymore, Naruto made his way with the Sannin as they headed towards to find Tsunade. It did not take them too long. A conversation between her and Jiraiya though did not go the way Jiraiya wanted. She tried to poison him as Naruto saw that. He knocked the cup away, but it wasn't poison. It was just a sleeping agent. She flipped the table and ran away, using the underground system that was there from the Warring era. However, she was shocked when she saw a blazing golden light flying through the sky. It was Naruto as he landed. He simply wished to talk to her, trying to understand everything. Meanwhile, a far distance away, there were beings that were beyond this world. There seemed to be beings that were aware of the emeralds that Naruto had at his disposal. After all, Orochimaru didn't exactly create them. It was said that they were created by a powerful godly being. So yeah guys, basically let's split off. You guys can switch across and play it off yourself. So we jump right into this brand new episode. Let's begin now guys. A distance away from where Jiraiya had come across Tsunade, Naruto landed down with the other two, returning back to his normal form. Shizune could not take it. Being her first time flying, it seemed to affect her in a negative way. Her face turned green as she dropped Tauntaun, as she rushed over to the side and puked. Tsunade seemed to be rather fine though. She turned her gaze towards him. "What's the deal?" she said. "Why did you help us out?" she asked. She was trying to get away from Jiraiya, and he flew them out of there after stopping them. So she wanted to know what was his deal. "I have no obligation to return you back to the Hidden Leaf. I have no mission here." "So you're not with the pervert," she said, looking towards Naruto. "No," said Naruto. "I simply wish to ask you a question." "A question? About what?" she said, watching him very carefully, curious about the power that he used, which allowed him to fly and augment his strength, given the way he picked them up like it was absolutely nothing. "Jiraiya told me about you. He told me what you've been through. He told me why you no longer desire to return back to the Hidden Leaf. So answer me this. If there was still family there for you, would you go there, he asks. Why are you asking me this, she said, not making it easy for him. You see, everything in Naruto life has been focused on one thing: finding and ending Orochimaru. So for the first time in his life, he felt empty. Beyond empty, he felt like he was the one that lost. He had no purpose, no reason at the moment, for nothing. And he desired answers. Answers that for the first time he himself could not answer. So yes, here he was, trying to see if someone that had a similar life compared to his, given the way things took a bad turn for her. He wanted to know if she could give him answers that could make him pick something, to do something. Because at the moment he wasn't sure what to do. As much as he didn't like to speak about himself or his past. He told her his story. Tsunade listened to him, wanting to know exactly what his deal was. She was fully shocked as he went into details about what he was told, that he actually had a family. However, more so shocked to find out that those people were his parents. No understanding more than she originally knew. Naruto sat down. And you would like me to tell you that you should go back, or if you should stay as you are, she said. She made her way and sat down beside him. She didn't think of him as someone that wanted to bring her back, as someone that wanted to bring her back into her misery. No, he was someone that was looking for answers. He was someone that was lost, just like her. Someone that found it hard to express the emotions that he was feeling. She could see it on his face. He was filled with turmoil, conflicted on the inside. Just from his words alone, she could tell. As she sat down beside him, Shizune standing there, having not seen Tsunade focus on helping someone like this in a long time. Not by their physical wounds, but mental wounds. Perhaps there was a chance that it might be able to help her as well. Feeling the same kind of kinship that herself had, Tsunade started to speak. He spoke about her family, her tragic moment which led her to leave the village. I can't give you the answer that you seek. As Naruto gazed towards her, because I myself haven't found it, she said. Look at me. What do you think I've been doing for the past couple of years? Running away from my problem. And I know that. Countless have tried to advise me to return back home. Give it time, they said. Time will heal all wounds. However, so much time has already passed and yet I can't find the solution, she said to him. Tsunade did not even realize that for the first time she was truly opening up to someone that she barely knew, despite the both of them linking by the Uzumaki clan. As they sat there, Naruto didn't sure that he was going to fit in, and he made that rather known. He spent his life on the road. What was his purpose there? He didn't know how to be a part of a family. He did not know how to blend at all. Tsunade leaned back as she gazed towards the heavens, thinking about her own problem, which was reflected back at her much more through his eyes that were so conflicted. It made her think about Dan and Nawaki. Made her think about the both of them, their goal, their dream, what they desire, to become the Hokage. And here she was, drinking and wasting away, without a purpose, without a goal. I guess we're more similar than we originally thought. She elaborated, which made Naruto feel sympathy for her due to his own similar situation, something that he doesn't usually feel. For his entire life, for the last 16 plus years, this was all that he knew. Even as a child, he never truly knew freedom until he broke free. And even then he was stuck, confined. Even as he buried the Sannin, Orochimaru's final words were still with him. He might think that he's gotten rid of him. He might think that he was free, but what purpose would he have after that? Is there truly any? Is there truly nothing? Tsunade watched as Naruto seemed to be having a mental break at the moment, as she rests a hand on his shoulder. His gaze turned towards her. With family by your side, you will always be strong. She repeated the words that were told so long ago by Hoshirama Senju. Even Nawaki had taken up the saying as well. It was kind of a family code, and she had abandoned everything. As Naruto voiced his opinion on her matter, if that is the case, what is the point that she's found out here? Is there any reason? Which made her think even deeper on his words. Shizune was there rather shocked. This boy was causing many mental change within her master, with just his words that seemed to be even confusing to him. The both of them truly focusing on their problems, truly realizing if it was their purpose to be alone or to seek the family that was there. Tsunade had a home. She had people that would count on her, people that would want her there. Shizune has been by her side every single day, as she dragged her all over the elemental nation, refusing to go back to the home that she perhaps wanted to visit. Did that make her a horrible person? She never truly took Shizune's feelings into consideration. It was always about her. And now as she gazed at this boy, who was having the same mental dilemma as her, she could tell him that it was better to be on your own, but was it? Misery, being drunk, losing money, no purpose. She could cause a great change. However, if she was to do something like that, it would cause her to reflect on her own problems, for her to think about her own misery, which would lead her into a different state of mind. As she wasn't sure that was such a good thing, or perhaps it wasn't even that bad. As the both of them sat there, "I think you should go back," she finally said, causing Naruto to turn towards her. "You do?" "Yes. It's not good having no purpose. It is something that makes you feel bleak and empty, emotionless sometimes. However, you can change that. As you told me, things have been really hard since now. But there is room for a change, room for growth. You have people that loves you, that wants you to be a part of their family. A village that will admire you for all your heroics. You saved a lot of people by putting an end to that invasion with the power that is at your disposal," she said. As Naruto had told her everything, he didn't hold back. However, it was most of the key points about him killing Orochimaru that did come as a surprise to her, but it seems like this individual had more power than she originally thought, due to that golden state of his, where his power seemed to skyrocket from his normal state. However, that wasn't something that she was questioning now. Orochimaru was put down. He annihilated Orochimaru's troops. He destroyed the One Tails. He saved people in his home that would of course adore him. But the next words that she spoke solidified for Naruto. If Maria was here, what do you think she would say? As Naruto had always thought that, but truly, thinking about what she just said, he remembered what Maria said. They were family. And one day they were going to explore and find people that would make everything seem like a dream to them. There were people out there that love one another with so much care and so much love that it would shock him. She would advise him to go home, advise him to be with the people that was calling out to him. "Are you coming?" said Naruto. "What? You said that you were part Uzumaki, so in a sense, we're related by the clan that we hail from," Naruto said. "I'm not sure your relationship with my mother, but I'm sure that she will see you as family nonetheless. And I'm sure that many others there would be happy to see you. You are the supposed world best healer after all. And there's a lot of people that could use your help. And a lot of things that you can change and prevent by teaching them your talents. The reason why Jiraiya was here for her." Tsunade did not outright refuse what he had to say, which surprised Shizune as he simply looked at her and she was quiet. As she looked at him, she could see the reflection of Naoki and Dan behind his gaze, encouraging her, smiling at her. She removed the necklace from her neck. As she got to her feet, him doing the same. Shizune was shocked as she stepped forward and clipped it around Naruto's neck. "It's a family heirloom," she said to him. "With that, you will know that you will always be a part of a family, no matter what." For the first time in a very long while, Naruto smiled. Yes, a genuine smile. Something that seemed rather out of character for him. But he smiled. Shizune was looking at her master hopefully. Does this mean? Meanwhile, Jiraiya was cursing to the heavens, having spent the last few hours searching for Tsunade and Naruto. He lost the both of them in one clean swoop. There is no possible way that Tsunade would have been able to outrun him so fast. So that leads to other theories. Naruto flew her out of here. The kid was pretty fast, especially when flying. But why would he do that? And where the hell was he? Many theories had went through his mind, but that one was the most solid possibility. But it also did not make much sense as well. What the hell was he going to tell the others? He told them that he was with Naruto, as he was sending constant updates through his toads. But now, Naruto was gone. Tsunade was nowhere to be seen. The Sannin was frustrated until he was greeted by the golden light. Gazing upwards as Naruto descended down. When he landed, Shizune's face turned green. But this time she seemed to hold it in. "Are you alright?" Tsunade asked. She raised a hand, showing that she was fine, but she couldn't speak at the moment. "Where did you guys go?" Jiraiya said, until he noticed a necklace around Naruto's neck. "We just had a little talk," said Tsunade. "Nothing that will concern you too much. But I am going to come back to the village in 3 days." "What?" Jiraiya said. "There is a tournament going on, and I'm not going to miss it," she said to him. Time skip. Her luck was truly horrendous. As she was losing pretty badly. Naruto stood there with his arms folded, Jiraiya shaking his head, Shizune releasing a breath. From a younger age, her luck was always horrible, and nothing had truly changed. Until Tsunade started to win. She started to win, and to win, and to win, even at cards. Where her luck sucked the most, where she always get the worst cards, even at dice. Something was wrong, horribly so, she realized, until she gazed over towards Naruto and Jiraiya. She looked down towards Naruto's hand. His hand was moving strangely. She noticed the machine as she pulled the lever. It seemed to flick back to the winning one, which made her realize something. Afterwards, Tsunade took Naruto out for a big feast. Jiraiya was there of course as well. She had won a lot, to the point that they became really suspicious. However, they couldn't really find any evidence that she was cheating. However, she knew what was going on. Naruto had gotten better at using his abilities, even without accessing his super state. However, they were much more toned down. They were nowhere close to what he could do once he was fully powered up. However, he could tamper with things around him, messing with certain things, slowing down, speeding up. That was his whole thing to begin with, tampering with the space around him, so yes. It was rather easy to do when it came to the machines and the cards. As the days went by, they found themselves heading back towards the Hidden Leaf Village. Tsunade hadn't seen it in a very long while, same for Tsunade as well. Given that he was recently here but this time he was coming back to actually be a part of a family, it felt really strange. Tsunade gazed over towards him and simply gave him a nod. With that, they made their way throughout the village. People were surprised to see her, happy as well. Having two of the Sawnins within the village was always a good thing. They were much more protected. Not to mention her being missing for a very long time, so yes, it was rather surprising as they found themselves making their way towards the office. Arriving there, as Naruto stood outside, watching the door open up in front of him before taking a step, as he proceeded to step directly inside. Their eyes met, truly for the first time. They have looked at each other before, when Naruto first arrived, but their eyes truly focused this time. Father and son gazing back towards one another. There was a lot to unpack there. So much. It seems like news hadn't reached the others just yet. Otherwise, they would have been there. Naruto stepped forward, making his way, stopping a distance away from the decks along with the others. The one to first speak was Jiraiya. Tsunade was rather curious about the interior as she gazed around, checking things out, already knowing the reason why she was here. Minato could not be more happy, having already received news that they were coming, courtesy of Jiraiya, and he was notified by the envoys. Minato was went up against a lot. However, in this situation he found himself nervous. Of course he was a bit nervous, meeting his adult son for the first time. Truly, their last interaction wasn't one to really talk about, so yes, this was the first time he was truly meeting his adult son. And it was a bit weird, but as he stood there, finishing his business off with Jiraiya and Tsunade first. With that, he told Naruto to walk with him, and they made their way. As the both of them were walking at the moment, people did not know the relationship between the two. However, it was best if they spoke somewhere private. They found themselves heading towards one of the training fields, where Minato and Kakashi spent time fishing sometimes. He also spent a lot of afternoon here with his family when Mito was younger. Minato took a deep breath, as things seemed to be rather awkward, and he said that to just try to steer away the awkwardness. I guess this is a bit awkward, huh? He said. As Naruto's gaze turned to fully focus on the man. Minato has always been an awkward person, but people did not realize that, due to his looks or due to his talents. When he first met Kushina, he couldn't even maintain eye contact with her. So yes, as now he was talking to his adult son, despite his age being 16. In this world, that was it. So stating that it was awkward was enough to breach the tension between them. He released a heavy sigh. "I'm sorry that we weren't able to find you," he said. "Are you sure you want to do this now?" said Naruto. Wouldn't it be better to wait until the blood test returns? Tsunade had taken a sample of both of their blood, just to confirm what they all seemed to believe. Minato did not seem to mind or concern himself about that. In this life you can simply tell sometimes. And in this moment, I don't need a blood test to tell that you're my son. Perhaps, a part of Naruto was still fighting this, being the first one to truly agree to that, to see if he was truly their son or perhaps they were wrong. As he stood there with his father, Minato tried to get through the awkwardness by simply talking about mundane things, nothing too serious, nothing that would truly get them pumping about the future. And it was good, as Naruto was talking back, despite being a person for few words. He was following in on the conversation. Word had already been sent back to the home, where we find Kushina and Mito patiently waiting for him to bring Naruto there. He told them that he would like to speak to Naruto first, and they respect his wishes. But here they were patiently waiting to see him, waiting to talk to him. They simply sat and waited. The both of them also feeling that nerve-wracking feeling. Mito, that has met him on multiple occasions, had no idea why she was feeling that way. Perhaps because it was now solid that he was truly there. Yes, perhaps that is the reason. As the two found themselves walking and chatting, getting to know one another, when they finally arrive at the home, where the remainder of his family lie. Upon entering the house, making their way inside Kushina, and Mito was alerted by Minato, calling out to them. The moment they saw Naruto, Mito was the first one to rise. Instinct seemed to take over, remembering the first time that she saw him and the hate, the sadness in his eyes. She ran, and without second thought she hugged her brother. She hugged him. Kushina, unable to contain it, went over and hugged the two as well, wrapping her arms around them. Naruto being taller, despite his young age. Minato stepped forward and hugged them all. Naruto was not used to these kind of things, but since they lost Naruto, they were extra parents in a sense. Always being there no matter what, supporting and encouraging Mito for the best. That was all that they tried to do. And they've done so wonderfully. So yes, they were a very close, comforting, supportive family. However, Naruto did not feel anger or hate or sadness. He felt happy. Emotion that was rarely seen inside of him. He felt swaddled, comforted, blanketed. Nice. Time skip. As the days passed by, they got the blood test back, and it was confirmed that Naruto was their child. However, none of them doubted that for the moment except for Naruto. Things were awkward, yes. Just because that first day with that hug didn't mean that everything was just going to snap in place. The first awkward situation came when Naruto left the village. Upon returning back to the village, he was confused by the situation that greeted him. They all seemed to be in such a panic. "We thought that you left." "I did," he said. "No, not like that," said Mito. As Naruto gazed at the family that was rather concerned, seeing the look on their faces, he started to feel bad, something that never truly bothered him before, which led to him apologizing. And once again they hugged him. He wasn't used to these kind of emotions. As we find Naruto that night seated on the monument, Tsunade was there as well, drinking a bottle of sake. sharing some with him. As she was asking him about how things were going, how he was fitting in. Things were strange. That's an understatement. Naruto wasn't used to the family mushy stuff. He wasn't used to that one bit. He wasn't even staying with them, as he was staying in a hotel for the time being. Things were still not, well, close. They were trying to know him in ways that he never made anyone know him before. Tsunade chuckled. They're just trying to understand you more. It's weird, Naruto said. I suppose. It would be that way to you, she said, chuckling. Remembering her conversation with Kushina. Kushina understood why she did what she did, why she had to leave the village for the years, why she had to clear her mind. She was also able to meet Mito, a lovely young girl. As Tsunade advised Naruto that he need to go more within the village. People were already being introduced to him as Minato's son, as it wasn't a secret that they were going to keep away, as Mito was rather talkative about it, not to mention her introducing Naruto to her teammates. However, Naruto was older than them, just by a couple of years, but still he was older than them. However, he did meet a friend. His name was Itachi Uchiha. Their personalities were rather similar. He met him when he met the other two teammates. He saw them at Land of Wave, but he never truly took stock into either of them. However, Mito believed that it would be perfect. She knew Itachi rather well, given the amount of time she spent over at Sasuke's home, so she introduced the two. Itachi was a very calm and sweet individual in the way he handled people and things around him. However, his personality was similar to Naruto in the way that he doesn't spoke often, which allowed the both of them to actually come to a common ground of not speaking. It was strange. It was only a few words that were exchanged between the two. In doing so, Naruto met Uncle Midarashi as well. Having gotten the curse mark taken off her that Orochimaru had placed there, due to the father of Mito, which was none other than Minato, which was also his father as well. Uncle knew Mito and Mito knew her. She introduced Naruto to Kakashi, Kurenai, and several others, trying to make him well known within the village, to make him feel like he was home. Naruto simply stopped himself from refusing this. He knew that right now he was the only problem left. And for the first time he started to truly try, remembering what Maria had said. And for the first time Naruto felt this weight lifted off his shoulder, like he really had a place that he truly and really belonged. And with that, Naruto started to actually try. And the others did notice that it was still difficult for him, given his whole background and everything, but he was trying. Time skip. Days turned into weeks and weeks turned into months. A lot happened in that time frame. They could not grant Naruto the title of Genin. That was extremely below him. However, Chunin seemed to be the right caliber. Not for his strength, because he was the man that killed Orochimaru, and that easily made him a Sannin level threat. But that was not the case here. Getting Jonin was not simply because of your power. If that was the case, some of the other teachers would not be classified as Jonin, or special Jonin like Ebisu. After all, he was not as strong as Kakashi. So yes, Jonin was more than that. While Naruto do possess experience, but it wasn't the experience to lead a team or to work well with others. Before that though, Minato did decide that he wanted to see what Naruto was capable of, him hand to hand. As this time they would not be fighting to kill one another, but just to bond and test his son. Thus the family was there. Tsunade was there as well. Jiraiya was there. spending time in the village after, skipping in and out. He did come by to warn them about the threat, as they found themselves in a field area. The place was sealed off courtesy of Minato, knowing that Naruto had rather destructive abilities. He just wanted to test Naruto, but he's seen a glimpse of what Naruto could already do, and he know that he could be rather destructive. "Alright son," said Minato. The notion of him calling him son seemed to be getting the both of them closer. Naruto's arms were folded, as he did not believe that the man possessed the power to defeat him. And he blatantly said that. The others were impressed by how cocky he was being. Then again, this was the person that killed Orochimaru, and they had no true idea of what he was capable of. Mito had invited her teammates. Kakashi Hatake was seated in the tree, here to watch this as well. "Who do you think is going to win? I mean, it has to be the Hokage, right?" Sakura said. Sasuke's gaze was narrowed on this individual, Mito's so-called brother. He seemed to be very powerful. He was the son of the Hokage after all, but still, he seemed to be not worried in the slightest. Then again, they weren't actually fighting to hurt one another, as Mito wondered if her brother was that much powerful, remembering hearing that he defeated Orochimaru and what she saw when he attacked the One Tails and defeated so easily. But it was her father, their father, so it was really hard to tell. "Alright," said Minato, "let us begin." With those words, he launched 3 shuriken towards Naruto. However, Naruto deflected all of them, pulling his blade rather quickly. His trusty weapon that Minato had examined, realizing that it was no ordinary blade. When he heard where Naruto got it from, he was rather shocked. The man that created this for him must have truly trusted him. Said man hailed from Kiri, but had left the area because of the war that was taking place. He was no longer amongst the living though, but he was one of the members that created the 7 Ninja Swordsmen. He was a part of that group. Not the group entirely, but their weapons, that is. Minato dashed forward, using a surprising amount of speed, knowing that holding back on Naruto would be a waste of time and an insult to the both of them. Minato got behind Naruto and brought his hand down, but Naruto blocked it with his own. Minato flashed in front of Naruto, having dropped the 3-pronged kunai. However, Naruto hit him in the stomach, throwing the man away. Minato was shocked. He tried to move, but it was like he got slowed down, as he realized that Naruto was the one that did it. Kicking things up a notch, he launched 3 of his prompt kunais, flashing around as he tried to take Naruto down, but each of his blows were blocked or deflected. Naruto's ability to slow down things around him was seeming to be the perfect counter for Minato, but it wasn't done just yet. You have to keep in mind Minato was a genius, especially at battle tactics. He jumped away. He went through hand sign and launched a lightning technique towards Naruto. Finding the technique to be a waste of time, Naruto destroyed with his chaos energy. Minato used that fraction to hit Naruto for the first time, sending him knocking back. Naruto skidded and came to a stop. Surprise! Minato was very smart. He calculated the precise time in his mind on Naruto using his ability to destroy his technique, moving with such speed, the timing and the amount of speed that was needed to pull it off to get through to Naruto without using brute force or simply waiting until his technique was down. No, Minato attacked him while he was using it. The man was indeed smart, and Naruto seemed to be having fun, judging by the tiny smile on his lips. When he blinked away, he started to teleport. Both him and Minato started to blink all over the place, clashing against one another. There was a reason why the barrier was put up. Minato formed a Rasengan as Naruto formed a ball of chaos energy that ripped through the chakra. Minato was shocked as he was thrown back, finding it rather difficult to stand. But he did get back to his feet though, as father and son seemed to be testing one another to see what each other is capable of. Minato was fully aware that when it comes down to it, Naruto knew how to defend himself. He's seen that already. As the fight came to an end, not too long after, Mito wanted to go next, but this wasn't really a trial thing. But Naruto did not mind though. Sasuke wanted to give it a try as well. They were surprised when he did say something like that, as he was not the type. However, Sasuke wanted to see how his strength ranked up to someone that was able to fight the Hokage without being defeated immediately. Sakura, seeing both of her teammates join in, she wanted to join in as well. So the three of them attacked Naruto. However, they got absolutely nowhere. They couldn't even touch him. They were much slower, not to mention his teleportation ability. It took them out of the match before the match even begun. Thus, Naruto became a Chunin, working his way to become a Jonin. It wouldn't take that long given his experience on the road, his abilities, and what he can do. However, the test was not something that Minato could simply control. The test would be placed in front of several other promising Jonins. For biased reasons, yes. So with that, days flew by, months flew by, and then years flew by. Everyone in the village was getting stronger as the time flew by. Tsunade, now back, and now that there wasn't a threat of war, Minato allowed her to go through with the program that she wanted to start all those years ago. Sakura Haruno took interest in that program due to her immaculate chakra control, which was making her one of Tsunade's best students. The girl was special in several ways. Mito also received training from Tsunade as well. However, she didn't possess the amount of control that Sakura did. But her monstrous strength that came from her Uzumaki side was always there for backup. Mito got stronger because not only was it her father or Jiraiya, her brother was also helping her now. Things between the family had gotten a lot better as Naruto had become more open on his feelings and emotions, but he didn't really change that much. However, Kushina was happy, seeing her family finally reunited. She was glad that she was able to live to see this, as she was content with everything that was going on. After 2 years, Naruto took the Jonin tests, proving that he was much more capable than a normal Chunin. Naruto was able to specialize in several areas, breaking expectations, to showing that he was an oddity amongst oddity. He continued to rise in strength. He could not separate himself from the emeralds. He didn't know how to do that. They seemed to have completely fused with him, and fused with his power and made it grow in unbelievable ways. However, that wasn't only one of the things that happened. This happened a few months back. He was 18 at the time. Something rather shocking. When Naruto woke up that morning in bed, he found himself not alone. Being the first one to wake up, he gazed over towards the person sleeping next to him. And it was none other than Uncle Midarashi. Naruto lifted the covers of the sheet, finding absolutely nothing there. He got up and got dressed. The first person to find out about this was Tsunade. Despite how close Naruto seemed to have gotten to his family, his parents, he could talk to Tsunade more better. She understood him more. And he told her about things that not even his mother or father knew. And this was one of them. This was the first time for him. Naruto spent his entire life in one pursuit and one goal. He had time for nothing else. And he was never attached to anyone, so yes, This was the first time for him. Wait, you just left? She said to him. Naruto nodded his head, causing her to sigh. From the time that Naruto had arrived when Mito had told Anko and the others, Kakashi, to invite Naruto with them to hang out because he didn't really have that much friends. Anko had become persistent. Yes, inviting Naruto to go to the bar with them. Inviting him to hang out with her friends. You had the Eternal Chunins, Katetsu and Izumo, and several others. Naruto gave in and started to hang out with them from time to time. And this was one of those nights. The others were busy and the both of them were the last two. Flashback. Are you ready? Kurenai UI asked as she was seated there. No, we're not done yet, Uncle said. As both her and Naruto were having a drink off. Due to his system, Naruto was extremely hard to get drunk. However, Anko seemed to be swaying already. I'm gonna beat you, she said. Tuh, I doubt it, he said to her. Kurenai waved goodbye as she left the two there. Her and Asuma leaving as Naruto and Anko continued to drink. However, even Naruto had his limits. In his normal form, that is. The both of them started to dance. Yes, dance. It seems like alcohol make you do some rather strange things. The both of them went over the village, doing all sorts of nonsense. As they found themselves towards a bed. And rather unspeakable actions took place. They got up late in the night. As they saw one another, despite no longer being that hammered. However, the mood was right. And they went at it once again, and again, and again, and again, and again. And they eventually fall asleep and woke up the next morning. Naruto having every single memory intact. Anko, when she woke up, Naruto wasn't there. Tsunade told him that he shouldn't just have left like that. Naruto felt bad. He knew that he had to move on with his life. He knew that Maria would have agreed that he had to live a life. However, what he did, that was supposed to be something romantic, wasn't it? Not used to these kind of emotions. Tsunade told him that it doesn't have to be. There are some things that doesn't mean connection. There are other people that date, go out, and then break up. However, there are some special people that stick together no matter what. Like his parents, for example. They are soulmates. As she questioned Naruto on what he felt for Anko. Well, so far Naruto only saw her as a friend. Someone that was always bothering him. A nuisance as well, but she wasn't that bad. Naruto eventually made his way to apologize for leaving without saying anything. He found himself apologizing a lot these days, something that he's never ever done in the past. Something that he still found rather strange. However, Anko waved it off. She wasn't so upset about it as he thought. They left things rather quiet on that part. However, what? Kurenai said. She was rather shocked. Wait, with the Hokage-san? Another one said her name was Hana. She was the oldest daughter of Tatsumi Inuzaka. Yes, her name was Hana Inuzaka. There were 4 of them there. Yujiro Uzuki. There was Hana. There was Kurenai and there was Anko as well. The age difference wasn't that bad. Anko was 23, almost 24, and Naruto was 18 years old. Then again, he wasn't anyone. He was a very special individual. She was also grateful for him for killing the Sanin even though she wanted to do it herself. But still, at least, the snake bastard was dead once and for all. Despite being hammered, she remembered rather well. As she was used to drinking and getting hammered, her memory stayed intact most of the time. The first time was weird. as he had no idea what to do. However, the second time, it was like he gained 3 years experience. The third, the fourth, the fifth. All of their eyes widened as Uncle kept on going and kept on going. Wait, Hannah stepped in. How much time was it? Well, by the 10th time, I could barely move. He, on the other hand, he has the stamina of a stallion, Uncle said. Not to mention, as she made some rather lewd comments, which caused the others to blush and looked away, even as grown as they were. Uncle was always the more risque one out of all of them, who said what was on her mind without hesitation. Hey, look. They all quieted down as they saw Naruto making his way towards them. He grabbed one of the chairs from the other side and pulled it up as he sat down. I want to talk to you, he said. He had been looking for Uncle. Naruto didn't have that much in life experience, as that was a severe lacking on his part. However, Kakashi Hatake gave him a book, because Kakashi saw the morning when he left Uncle's place. He gave him a book, a little orange book, and it caused Naruto to read a lot and also observe things. He had spent the morning seeing other couples, and perhaps what they did weren't that bad. You want to talk to me, she said. About what? Now this was a problem. While Naruto did feel things were getting awkward in certain areas, Naruto was never a shy person and never afraid to say what was on his mind. He blatantly insulted people without hesitation. I think we should keep on having sex. The other's face turned red as he said that in front of them without a hint of hesitation in his tone. They immediately excused themselves. The last one to remain was Hannah, who was still blown away, but Kurenai grabbed her hand and pulled her away. And why do you say that? Uncle said, curious to hear his talking points, because despite never truly talking about it, she realized that he had no awkward tendencies towards what he had said when they saw each other after that night. So yes, she would like to know. However, Naruto found it rather enjoyable. He asked if it was the same for her. She tried to downplay it, to remain a bit on top in this situation. When he said that he will try his best the other time. Wait, that wasn't your best? I'm not sure, he said. It was my first time doing it. She was surprised. Now it made sense why the first time was so awkward. How the hell did he gain so much experience in such a short amount of time? As she thought about it, she didn't see anything wrong with doing that every now and again. After all, it's not like she had a steady boyfriend or anything like that. They could be friends with benefits. What's that? Said Naruto, as she whispered it. And that sounded like a fantastic idea to him. Time skip. Naruto bought a house. He bought a house with 3 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. Not sure who wanted to stop by or anything. He had family after all. However, they were shocked by the amount of money that he had. Naruto was filthy rich. The things that he's done. He got paid a lot. A lot. One of his missions were like at least 3 S rank for Konoha. Because Naruto did not do all sorts of dangerous missions, but he did kill a lot of important people, which led him to get a lot of payment. So yes, he had a lot of money, and he bought a house within the village, not too far away from his family house, while there were some distance, but not that far away. Thus, a lot has happened, even on Mito's part as well. She's grown into a fantastic young lady due to her always wearing all sorts of boyish clothing, giving her tomboy persona. When she first put on the first thing that was close to a dress, Kiba Inuzaka and a few of his other friends were there. Even Sasuke Uchiha was surprised. There was a festival going on in Konoha, and Naruto had showed up as well. However, He seemed to have taken the big brother role rather well. With a simple gaze alone, they all got afraid and scampered away. However, things could not be peaceful forever. The Sand and Konoha relationship had tightened back up, as the Sand got a new leader that was bringing it to new heights. However, the Kazekage was kidnapped. You heard that correct. By none other than the Akatsuki. Naruto was not within the village. However, Mito was there, and her team as well. They needed a medic due to the injury of one of their members there, the Kazekage brother. So with that, Team 7 was sent out. He was quite aware of the Akatsuki and their goal to gain the tail beasts, but he's made sure that his daughter was able to prepare herself, knowing that sooner or later they would make a move. They blatantly stepped into the Sand village and kidnapped the Kazekage. While the Sand defenses weren't as powerful as Konoha defenses, the mere fact that they did that showed that they will stop at nothing to achieve what they desire. However, he would not let them take Mito. Kushina also had a threat on her head as well, given that she had half of the 9 tails. So yes, it was rather concerning. But he would make sure that the both of them were safe, and he was not the only one. Meanwhile that was going on, Naruto reared his fist back and drive it forward. There was a violent explosion. His whole body was glowing with the golden aura. Behind him was the filming crew and a woman known as Koyoki. Naruto had just obliterated a train with his fists, showing how much stronger he has gotten, how much more control he has gotten over his super form. However, the problem was just getting started. The Akatsuki was now rearing their head. They would be coming after his sister sooner than later. And outside of the elemental nation, the more Naruto used his abilities, the more the threats were aware of what he was doing. The emeralds were found. Orochimaru had said it himself. A being from another planet, a being with unimaginable power had created the emeralds and they were found here. So yes, who exactly was this being? And who exactly was after them? How much problem was Naruto in? Who exactly was targeting him? Well, you'll have to wait until the next episode to find that out, guys, because I'm gonna be ending this episode right here. If you want to see the next part and do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. But I'm off now. See you guys soon. Peace.